the mind's cracked. Sing!
Remember Christ our Savior was born on Christmas Day.
From viral harmonies to Grammy-winning acclaim, Pentatonix has never played by the rules. And now, something unexpected is happening. The once unstoppable a cappella powerhouse is shifting in ways fans didn't see coming. Whispers are growing louder, timelines look different, and their signature sound? It's evolving, but not in the way you might think. Behind the spotlight, personal choices, bold risks, and subtle tensions are shaping a new era for the group. Is it reinvention or something more permanent? One thing's for sure, Pentatonix isn't standing still, and neither is the conversation. The origins of Pentatonix. In the suburban city of Arlington, Texas, a musical bond was quietly forming that would one day help redefine a cappella on the global stage. Scott Hoying, Mitch Grassi, and Kirsten Maldonado were classmates with a shared love for choir, musical theater, and vocal performance. They crossed paths in high school, where their mutual appreciation for harmonies and stagecraft quickly developed into a deep friendship. Whether performing in school productions or choir competitions, the trio's vocal chemistry was evident from the start. As their friendship grew, so did their ambition. They began experimenting with complex vocal arrangements, often adapting popular songs and classical pieces to suit just their voices. What started as fun, informal rehearsals became a growing obsession with harmony and musical precision. Scott's transition to college brought him into the world of collegiate a cappella, exposing him to a genre that was still under the radar for most mainstream audiences. Excited by its potential, he shared the idea with Mitch and Kirsten, igniting a new creative spark among the three. The early collaborations sowed the seeds for something bigger. Not only were they vocally talented, but the three also shared a creative vision and emotional synergy that distinguished them from the rest. Their individual vocal ranges and stylistic influences began playing off each other, making the sound rich and textured. Most importantly, having spent years together, they built a very strong bond of trust and communication, traits immensely necessary in the high-stakes professional music world. It was this combination of incredible talent, experimentation, and long-established friendship that led them to form Pentatonix. While not all of the group members were there yet, and no one had been on a national stage, the core elements of Pentatonix were already present: tight harmonies, audacious musical choices, and unassailable personal bonds. Long before the viral videos and Grammy trophies, back in high school, some three friends found harmony in more ways than one, and named that harmony after Texas. But just when their harmony felt complete, a challenge emerged that would force them to expand and unlock a whole new level of sound. Building the perfect blend. As Scott Hoying, Mitch Grassi, and Kirsten Maldonado prepared to audition for NBC's The Singoff in 2011, they faced a major hurdle. The show required a minimum of 5 members per group. While the trio had undeniable chemistry and vocal talent, they knew their sound needed more depth and rhythmic complexity to compete on a national stage. Determined to meet the challenge, Scott began seeking out the right additions, musicians who could both complement their style and elevate their musical vision. The first new member to join was Avi Kaplans, a classically trained bass vocalist known in the California a cappella scene for his deep, resonant voice and choral expertise. Avi's bass anchored the group's arrangements, providing a rich low end that had previously been missing. Soon after, they connected with Kevin Olusola, a Yale graduate and classically trained cellist, who had recently gained online attention for his innovative cello boxing, a fusion of beatboxing and cello playing. Kevin's rhythmic finesse and technical skill brought a percussive edge that made the group's sound truly distinctive. The band had finalized its lineup not more than a day before the audition scheduled for the Singoff. They hadn't been given a lot of opportunity to really rehearse since the time was too short. Yet, within this time, the chemistry was immediate and electric. In fact, every voice found its place, and along with the thunderous bass of Avi, the intricate beatboxing of Kevin, and the tight harmonies of the other three, a sonic blend was created that was unmatched anywhere else on the show. Instead of a hurried, awkward collaboration, it felt almost like an effortless bringing together of true talents. Greatest last-minute creation, this proved to be, because it left a distinct sound that was modern, versatile, and fresh, melting classical and choral, pop, and hip-hop musical heritage into one. Most importantly, it also made room for minds that were in sync with all voices, who had one collective thirst to innovate and push the limits in the scope of vocals. That spontaneous combustion of talent, drive, and ambition would propel them through the Singoff and into a career that would eventually revolutionize the world of contemporary a cappella. The Singoff stardom. Pentatonix's rise to fame began with a high-stakes gamble on Season 3 of NBC's The Singoff. As a relatively new 5-member group, they entered the competition with a bold approach that blended pop, electronic, and classical influences, all performed without instruments. Their sound stood out immediately in a field of large theatrical groups, with the Texas Quintet proving that a cappella could be innovative, powerful, and cool. From their haunting take on Video Slain the Radio Star to electronic-inspired renditions, they consistently pushed the limits of what audiences expected from vocal performance. On November 28, 2011, they were crowned champions, beating out fan favorites like the Dartmouth Airs and Urban Method with arrangements that felt both modern and technically daring. Their win, while celebrated, came with a surprising twist. Unlike winners of other televised music competitions, Pentatonix didn't walk away with guaranteed long-term support. Shortly after their victory, they were dropped by their label, a move that reflected the music industry's uncertainty about how to market an a cappella group. Despite their national visibility and undeniable talent, industry executives doubted the commercial viability of a group that didn't use traditional instruments. In a landscape dominated by solo pop stars and full bands, Pentatonix's unconventional model didn't easily fit into the standard marketing mold. And that was the moment that defined the band. It was a jolt transition, almost from fame as a national performing group to being shunned by the industry. Instead of waiting around for their miracle, Pentatonix took the reins and got a life for themselves, banging out covers with slick arrangements on a YouTube channel that set the bar high in terms of vocal precision and group chemistry. These quickly accrued millions in view counts, opening up a concert hall venue for a true audience far and wide. Aside from signature plays or corporate endorsements, the Singoff was far from the defining moment for Pentatonix. But it was the point as a result of which they would then halt records and performances with traditional labels. Not defined by and outside the limitations of the traditional system, they in fact became what is classified as successful in the virtual age. They proved resilience as well as forethought when they managed to convert a post-victory setback into a launching pad. For all practical purposes, it may have been the best thing ever to have happened. A sudden label firing to turn them into first creating a grassroots empire, to make them winners of a reality show, or great revolutionaries in the modern vocal scene. Breaking through online. After facing an unexpected setback when they were dropped by their record label post-Singoff, Pentatonix made a bold decision that would change the trajectory of their career. They turned to YouTube. Rather than chase another traditional deal, they started producing and uploading a cappella covers of popular songs, showcasing their unique vocal arrangements and chemistry. One of their early breakout moments came with their cover of Gautier's "Somebody That I Used to Know," which quickly went viral. The performance demonstrated their ability to reinterpret mainstream music through voice alone, capturing both the musical complexity and emotional nuance of the original without a single instrument. This early viral success was no accident. Pentatonix quickly developed a disciplined content strategy, consistently releasing new videos with high production value and intricate arrangements. They leveraged the platform not just for exposure, but to build a direct connection with fans. Their ability to engage with audiences through comment sections, behind-the-scenes footage, and social media updates turned casual viewers into loyal followers. Fans, soon dubbed Pentaholics, weren't just consuming the music. They were part of a growing community that helped fuel the group's rise through likes, shares, and word of mouth. Sliced free from the creative shackles of a label, Pentatonix were able to be free-spirited artistically and to keep innovating. They were not just covering the songs, they were essentially reworking them for their own purposes. Each cover led the original songs astray in their use of lush harmonies, beatboxing, and pure savage vocal textures, from Love on Top by Beyoncé to Radioactive by Imagine Dragons. Their YouTube fame did get them opportunities, world tours, TV appearances, you name it, all without traditional radio play or industry gatekeepers. If anything, YouTube became their stage. Pentatonix showed that in an era where numbers are traded for hits and albums, authenticity and building connections with the audience can also wield their mighty power. Social media was not just a tool for them. They redefined what building a music career means in the digital age. Their saga became that of a successful guide for other independent artists who used this blueprint to arrive at another conclusion. It's possible to defeat the system and create for oneself a large global brand only by talent, strategy, and a tad of luck. From covers to original music. After building a massive global following through viral covers and YouTube fame, Pentatonix reached a pivotal moment in 2015 with the release of their self-titled album, Pentatonix. Unlike their previous projects, which were primarily based on reimagined versions of existing songs, this album marked their first full-length collection of original material. It was a bold step into uncharted territory, one that tested whether their fan base would embrace them as true recording artists rather than just expert interpreters of other people's music. The risk paid off. Pentatonix debuted at #1 on the Billboard 200, a historic achievement for an a cappella group. The album's breakout single, Can't Sleep Love, served as a clear declaration of their versatility and artistry. With its slick arrangement, catchy hook, and polished production, the track retained its signature vocal precision while proving it could create pop hits from scratch. Mitch Grassi's smooth lead vocals, supported by the group's tight harmonies, and Kevin Olusola's rhythmic beatboxing, gave the song a contemporary feel that resonated with both old fans and new listeners unfamiliar with the a cappella world. It was clear Pentatonix wasn't just a novelty. They were a force in mainstream music. This move into original compositions opened the floodgates of creative credibility for the group. No longer just an occasional YouTube cover band or a cappella specialists, the group began to be seen as a legitimate entity in the world of pop. The focus of the industry began to shift, as did that of a wider audience that had previously overlooked their talents. When they had proven that they could stand shoulder to shoulder with pop artists on the same music charts, it was heralded as a breakthrough concerning their years of effort and experimentation. Original music liberated the group to create in ways that somehow contradicted pre-existing pop rules. The success of Pentatonix with original content was paramount in carving out a niche for themselves in modern vocal music. They were not about to forfeit the genre that made them famous. Rather, they were stretching that genre's very boundaries. They further demonstrated, with their Billboard-topping album, that a cappella could be more than a stylistic choice, but could serve as the very basis of chart-topping, culturally relevant music. The leap into original music not only began a new chapter in their journey, but raised the bar for aspiring vocal groups in the commercial realm. But just as their sound hit new heights, a deeply personal change behind the scenes would soon shift the group's harmony in more ways than one. Avi Kaplans Exit. In 2017, Pentatonix fans were stunned when Avi Kaplan, the group's beloved bass vocalist, announced his departure after 6 years of groundbreaking success with the ensemble. His deep, resonant bass had become a signature element of the group's sound, anchoring their complex harmonies with warmth and power. Avi revealed his decision in a heartfelt video posted to the group's Facebook page, flanked by his fellow members. In the video, he expressed immense gratitude for the journey he had shared with the group, but also opened up about the emotional cost of their relentless touring schedule. As Pentatonix's fame soared globally, the demands of constant travel left Avi feeling increasingly disconnected from his family and friends. While he cherished his time in the group, he admitted that the fast-paced lifestyle was taking a toll on his personal well-being, prompting him to step away for the sake of balance and peace. Avi's departure marked a major turning point for the group, not just musically, but emotionally. His exit wasn't marred by conflict or scandal. Instead, it was a moment defined by mutual respect and support. The remaining members, Scott Hoying, Mitch Grassi, Kirsten Maldonado, and Kevin Olusola, stood by him during the announcement, visibly emotional yet unified in honoring his choice. Avi performed his final show with Pentatonix in September 2017 in Vermont, offering fans a bittersweet farewell and a final glimpse of the lineup that had helped define a new era of a cappella. Even after leaving, Avi didn't abandon music altogether. He launched a solo project under the name Avriel and the Sequoias, turning toward the folk genre, a style more aligned with his introspective personality and desire for a slower, more grounded artistic life. Finding a new bass vocalist to fill Avi's shoes was an almost impossible task, given how central he had always been to the identity of the group. Soon after, however, Matt Sallee Berklee College of Music graduate, with an astounding vocal range and commanding stage presence, was welcomed by the group. Matt's transition into Pentatonix was eased by his powerful energy that breathed new life into the group's dynamics, along with a nice, resonant bass voice. Although fans were a bit wary at first about how the switch might alter the chemistry of the group, Matt charmed them over almost immediately with his personality and talent, both in studio recordings and in live performances. His first performances were celebrated enthusiastically, and it was evident that while Pentatonix might have lost a treasured voice, they had acquired one able to pay tribute to the past of the group while having a say in its future. The seamless transition from Avi to Matt showed the fortitude and flexibility of Pentatonix. Rather than stifle themselves in the aftermath of such a large transition, the group rallied around the idea of evolution while holding tightly to the values that made them adored in the first place: crisp vocal unity, innovation, and emotional sincerity. It is these same attributes that have allowed Matt to build on the group's dynamic, while also offering them new avenues of creativity. Seasonal soundtrack or strategic shift. Pentatonix's ascent into holiday music royalty began in 2012 with the release of PTXmas, a 6-track EP that reimagined classic Christmas songs with their signature harmonies and beatboxing flair. The project was initially intended as a festive side release, but the group quickly realized the genre's commercial potential. Their unique ability to breathe new life into traditional carols through rich vocal textures and inventive arrangements resonated deeply with audiences. Songs like Little Drummer Boy and Mary, Did You Know? Became viral sensations with millions of views on YouTube and strong chart performance. As the years went on, the group began to make holiday releases an annual tradition, culminating in multiple full-length Christmas albums that dominated seasonal sales charts and helped cement Pentatonix as a go-to soundtrack for the holidays. However, what once seemed like a supplementary venture has evolved into a defining characteristic of the group's brand. By 2025, Pentatonix's holiday-themed content, including albums, music videos, and annual Christmas tours, will have outpaced their non-seasonal output in terms of frequency and visibility. Their latest Christmas tour, scheduled across various U.S. cities, is explicitly branded as a Christmas tour, a phrasing that aligns with their increasingly seasonal identity. While fans still celebrate the high production quality and vocal excellence of their holiday performances, many have begun to question whether the group is transitioning into a seasonal act rather than a year-round musical force. The reduction in summer tour dates and fewer original, non-holiday releases over the past few years have only added fuel to the speculation. Unnamed members of the group have made surface references here and there regarding the need for creative breaks and the desire to pursue individual projects. Over the years, members like Scott Hoying and Mitch Grassi have begun launching their own music projects, and Kevin Olusola has participated in humanitarian and side artwork. These things, while certainly naturally occurring around artists of such tenure in the industry, have also begun to show the beginning of a shift in focus. For over a decade, these have been telling themselves the story of reinvention, adaptability, and growth. But their increasingly sporadic presence outside of the seasons suggests that the most frequent and arguably comfortable venue for artistic creativity has become holiday celebrations. In this way, some longtime fans who fell in love with their genre-less, pop-covering, original Once Did May feel alienated from the increasing holiday-centric, once-a-year emphasis. They do not have to wait much time between releases to be in the public eye. One can assume that the Christmas tour was sold out, and they still headlined seasonal specials and made big appearances, scoring bookings on The Tonight Show starring Jimmy Fallon. While this could be looked at as a limiting route, it shows a slightly clever way for the group to capitalize on their strong points: vocal harmony, emotion, and family-friendly appeal to a niche that they have made their own. Forever? We will see. One thing is for sure: Pentatonix has managed to carve out the holiday season into not just one musical moment, but their very own empire. Faith, identity, and representation. Pentatonix occupies a unique space in modern pop culture, not just musically but socially and spiritually. While they are globally known for their stunning vocal harmonies and often perform Christian-themed music, particularly during the holiday season, the group has never identified as a Christian band. This distinction, while clear to some, has sparked confusion among others. Songs like Mary, Did You Know?, How Great Thou Art, and Amazing Grace are staples in their repertoire and are often shared by Christian audiences during the Christmas season. Their soulful, reverent renditions of these hymns have moved many, prompting listeners to assume that the group shares a collective faith identity. However, that assumption overlooks the diversity within Pentatonix, both in belief and in background. Kevin Olusola, the group's beatboxer and cellist, is openly Christian and has spoken publicly about his faith and how it influences his life and artistry. His spiritual convictions often resonate with Christian fans who see him as a representative of faith in the secular music industry. Yet, other members of the group represent different personal journeys. Mitch Grassi and Scott Hoying, for example, are openly gay and vocal supporters of LGBTQ+ rights. They have not shied away from integrating their identities into their public personas and advocacy. Their involvement in projects like the Trevor Project and public statements about queer pride challenge the notion that the group as a whole operates within a religious framework. The resulting blend of perspectives has created both admiration for the group's inclusivity and tension among more conservative audiences. This tension was brought into sharper focus in opinion pieces like Amy S.'s blog post, Pentatonix and the Elephant in the Sanctuary. The article lauds the group's musical genius, while harboring an intense worry that the author sees as a theological contradiction. Christian audiences sharing and celebrating music from a group whose members celebrate unrepentant sin, in her own words. This critique mirrors an ongoing discourse in some Christian circles, whether the standards for the highest art should walk hand in hand with the standards for its spirituality. For fans who consider music a tool for ministry or for worship, the blend of faith-based content in Pentatonix songs with LGBTQ+ visibility rubs awkwardly. It puts pressure on listeners to reconcile potent spiritual expression with the real-life identities of the artists. In embracing complexity, Pentatonix shows that they have chosen to act in contradiction to the notion of artistic monolithism. The group was never morally authoritative. It asserted its freedom and authenticity. Any attempt to represent multiple identities within one spotlight makes Pentatonix more of a cultural conversation rather than merely a vocal act. The performance sets the stage to discuss the interstitialities of faith, sexuality, and creative manifestation today. For some, this complexity might raise questions, while for others, it offers a fresh perspective. Saliently, a contrasting one, where a ceaselessly evolving identity is warmed by many contrasting inputs, as with harmony. Thus, Pentatonix is more than merely a singing group. It is a mirror reflecting the greater culture war, competing notions of tradition, tolerance, and truth. Group dynamics and fan theories. Over the years, Pentatonix has cultivated not just a massive fan base, but a highly engaged one, made up of listeners who follow not only the music, but the relationships and chemistry among the group's members. As the group has matured and evolved, especially after more than a decade in the spotlight, fans on platforms like Reddit, Twitter, and YouTube have begun discussing subtle changes in their dynamic. These aren't baseless rumors or hostile gossip, but rather observations from longtime followers who have grown familiar with the group's stage presence, interviews, and social media habits. Enthusiasts often scrutinize everything from body language during performances to the frequency with which certain members appear in one another's online content. This micro-analysis reflects the intense loyalty and emotional investment fans have in the group, not just as musicians, but as individuals and a collective unit. One of the most frequently discussed topics involves the evolving relationship between founding members Scott Hoying and Mitch Grassi. As close friends who once shared a side project, Superfruit, and were known for their playful on-stage chemistry, the duo's interactions have always been a point of fascination. Some fans have noted that their collaborative energy appears less prominent in recent years, citing fewer joint social media posts or a change in how they interact during performances. Others believe this perceived distance could be linked to personal growth, changing priorities, or simply the natural ebb and flow of long-term creative partnerships. It's worth noting that Scott and Mitch have never publicly addressed any falling out, and both continue to perform professionally with the same dedication and polish the group is known for. While there is no real evidence to substantiate talks of internal friction, this constant speculation in itself really drives home the degree of visibility and pressure on public figures, whose appeal is tied, to a great degree, to their charm and charisma. In contemporary times, when fans expect to have access not just to the work but also to the artist, audiences are naturally inclined to read between the lines. By virtue of their very categorization as a small and tightly knit group, Pentatonix invites such scrutiny. Every change in formation, every allotment of solos, every video, and hence every appearance can be used to interpret who's taking the lead, who's hanging back. What does that teach us about their internal rhythm? Despite theories and speculation, Pentatonix has managed to hold steady. They continue to release music, perform to sold-out crowds, and have private moments with their fans that suggest that any changes behind the scenes do not influence the group's professional cohesion and artistic commitment. Nevertheless, the discourse from fans speaks to an audience that cares and is fully engaged. There is a yearning for good music, along with a sense of continuity and connection with the faces behind the harmonious blend. But while fans dissect every glance and harmony, the group's next chapter is quietly shaping a legacy no one saw coming. Legacy in motion. Pentatonix's journey from reality show winners to international vocal phenomenon is one of the most compelling stories in modern music. Since winning Season 3 of the Singoff, the group has defied industry expectations, not only sustaining their momentum, but continually evolving in the face of shifting musical trends. Over the years, they have won multiple Grammy Awards, sold millions of albums, and amassed billions of views on YouTube. Unprecedented milestones for an a cappella group. More importantly, they've helped elevate a cappella from a niche art form into a mainstream genre, inspiring a new generation of vocalists and proving that voices alone can create chart-topping, arena-filling music. Their achievements are not just accolades. They represent a redefinition of what vocal music can accomplish in a pop-centric industry. A key part of Pentatonix's enduring relevance lies in their collaborative spirit and genre-blending artistry. Rather than limiting themselves to traditional a cappella styles, the group has consistently pushed musical boundaries by working with artists across genres. Their Grammy-winning collaboration with Dolly Parton on Jolene seamlessly fused country with modern vocal techniques, while their duet with violinist Lindsey Stirling brought classical crossover into their repertoire. These partnerships not only expanded their musical range, but also opened them up to wider audiences, introducing their work to fans of country, classical, and EDM. By embracing collaboration without losing their core identity, Pentatonix has positioned itself as versatile artists who thrive in diverse musical landscapes. Even though they are background with the large group's success, they are all busy with personal projects beyond the Pentatonix name, thus significantly contributing to the diverse group narrative. Take Scott Hoying and Mitch Grassi, for example. They have independently developed their own artistic voice under the electronic pop umbrella as a duo, Superfruit. The duo has explored a more experimental and theatrical side of their music scenes while allowing it to be consumed. Kevin Olasola dabbles in solo instrumental projects, which include beatboxing and cello performance, and Avi Kaplans' work, post-Pentatonix, has embraced the folk acoustic storytelling approach. These solo assignments promote their independence, but in the end, they still share a very powerful collective. They have shown that individuality need not result in the disintegration of a group, rather, that it can bring about greater innovation and balance within it, thus keeping its creative engine running without burning out. Hopefully, Pentatonix is not yet done making their history. Some people have been guessing that their steadily increasing specialty in seasonal music and shorter tours will lead them to a more selective performance schedule. But otherwise, they may be moving into a new phase characterized as artistically driven and quite sustainable. The evolution to adapt, reinvent, and stay connected with fans is melodizing culture in itself, because whether it is a Christmas classic, a rare collaboration with a fascinating artist, or an original music release, Pentatonix continues to reinvent the whole definition of a 21st century vocal group. Their heritage is one of fearless transformation and not just consistency, and the world is already listening to what comes next. Thanks for watching. If Pentatonix's journey surprised you, there's even more to uncover. Don't forget to like this video, comment your thoughts below, and subscribe for more deep dives into the stories behind the music. And hey, stick around. Click the next video on your screen to keep the harmony going.